I have the most special partner. When Megyn Kelly said that Keith Urban was using Nicole Kidman, everyone on the internet got really excited. The news spread super fast, and suddenly, Hollywood's favorite couple was getting a lot of attention. But here's what we want to know. Did Megyn really say it, or did people just start a rumor that got out of control? For almost 20 years, Nicole and Keith seemed perfect together. She was a beautiful Hollywood star, and he was a loving country music singer. They showed everyone that love can survive even when you're famous. But that perfect picture broke when news came out that their 19-year marriage was over. Reuters confirmed that the couple split up in late September 2025. But the news only told part of the story. Behind their smiles was a deeper story about trust, dreams, and a rumor so powerful it changed everything we thought about them. Stay tuned, hit subscribe, and let's find out the truth together. The perfect picture. For almost 20 years, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were Hollywood's favorite love story. Every red carpet photo looked like a fairy tale. The looks, the smiles, the gentle touches made fans believe their love was real and special. They weren't just another famous couple, they were different, the ones who made it work. When Keith played his guitar on stage and sang songs for Nicole, the world fell in love with them. He called her his hero, the woman who helped him during his hardest time when he went to rehab just months after their wedding. Fans loved this story because it showed that love can heal and fix things. Their story was like a movie. A small-town country boy fell in love with an Oscar-winning actress. It was the kind of relationship that made headlines not because of problems, but because it lasted so long. They balanced being famous with being a family, going to big events, and also doing normal things like taking kids to school. But behind that perfect image, things were slowly changing. Keith's career was growing in ways no one expected. Before marrying Nicole, he was already good at country music, but not super famous. After the wedding, everything changed fast. His face was everywhere in magazines, on award shows, on TV interviews. Even people who didn't like country music started knowing who Keith Urban was. Meanwhile, Nicole, who used to be the center of attention in Hollywood, started stepping back. She focused on being a mom, chose fewer movie roles, and spent more time in Nashville than Los Angeles. Fans thought this was nice. She was being a good mom and wife. But some people noticed that the woman who used to be in big movies was now living in her husband's shadow. Still, nobody questioned it. Why would they? From the outside, everything looked perfect. Keith's music was doing great. Nicole was still elegant and classy. Together, they became a symbol of stability that Hollywood rarely sees. The perfect picture was complete, until one day, a name started going around online: Megyn Kelly. When her name got into the conversation, everything changed. Enter Megyn Kelly. For most people, Megyn Kelly is a name you know. She used to be a big news anchor on Fox News and became famous for asking tough questions that others didn't ask. Some people think she's brave and honest. Others think she's too mean. But one thing is true: when Megyn Kelly speaks, people listen. After leaving TV, Megyn started her own podcast called The Megyn Kelly Show. She talks about everything from politics to famous people. She's known for breaking down stories everyone's talking about and showing the truth behind Hollywood's perfect image. So when people started saying that Megyn Kelly had talked about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's divorce, the internet went crazy. Screenshots and headlines flooded social media. Megyn Kelly says Keith used Nicole. Megyn calls out Keith's real reason. But when people tried to find the actual video, something weird happened. Nobody could find it. There was no official statement, no interview, no real quote, just people talking about it. Still, the story spread like wildfire. It didn't matter if Megyn really said it or not. People believed it because Megyn Kelly is known for showing the truth about celebrity relationships. Her fans trusted her to tell the real story. The supposed comment, whether real or made up, fit perfectly with what Megyn does. Her followers love when she calls out fake Hollywood stories. And Keith and Nicole's marriage, which everyone thought was perfect, suddenly looked like something that needed to be examined more closely. What made this explode wasn't the quote itself, it was what it suggested. If Megyn Kelly thought Keith Urban's love story might have been fake, then maybe the world's favorite marriage wasn't what it seemed. The rumor that nobody can prove. It started like most modern drama, with a screenshot, a headline, and a post. Someone claimed Megyn Kelly said, "Keith Urban used Nicole Kidman to become more famous." Within hours, the story was everywhere. People didn't just read the rumor, they became part of it. The image of Keith as the charming country star who married up made the story seem believable. It wasn't facts that spread the story, it was feelings. But here's the truth. No real video or transcript ever proved that Megyn said this. There was no hard proof, no direct quote, nothing you could trace to a real source. Still, that didn't stop people from believing it. And for Keith Urban, the results were immediate. Comments on his performances started changing. Fans looked at his song lyrics differently, searching for hidden messages. When he performed without his wedding ring, people said it was proof. Meanwhile, Nicole Kidman stayed quiet and graceful. She said nothing. And her silence, to the internet, looked like she was agreeing without words. The theory, Keith as the opportunist. The rumor stuck because it fit a story people were ready to believe. The idea that Keith Urban's love for Nicole Kidman wasn't just romantic, but smart planning. That behind the love songs was a man who knew exactly what marrying one of Hollywood's most powerful actresses could do for his career. Before their wedding in 2006, Keith was respected in country music. His albums sold well, his fans were loyal, but outside of country music, he wasn't famous. Then came Nicole, the Oscar winner, the global superstar. Suddenly, Keith wasn't just performing at country music festivals. He was walking red carpets at the Oscars, standing next to one of the most photographed women in the world. Almost overnight, everything changed. His interviews became bigger, his image more polished, his audience wider. Soon after their marriage, Keith started winning big awards. He got more Grammy attention, appeared on TV more, and his career crossed over into mainstream pop culture. His job as a judge on American Idol in 2012 sealed his new identity. He wasn't just Keith Urban, country star anymore, he was Keith Urban, global entertainer. People started connecting the dots. Would American Idol producers have picked him if he were still just a Nashville musician? Or did being Nicole Kidman's husband make him the perfect choice? It's easy to see why this theory made sense. The timing lined up perfectly. Nicole had the fame, the wealth, the power. Keith had the talent and the hunger. Together, they became a power couple, but maybe one benefited more than the other. Fame, money, and power. Every Hollywood love story has a balance of power. In Keith and Nicole's case, the scale always tilted in one direction. Nicole Kidman wasn't just an actress, she was a brand. Her name had the kind of power that could open any door. By marrying Nicole, Keith didn't just join her life, he entered her world. The numbers tell the story. Nicole's net worth was in the hundreds of millions. Keith's was in the tens of millions. Nicole owned fancy homes across the world. All of this came from her level of fame. Keith brought success, but Nicole brought status. Their prenuptial agreement reportedly kept their money separate. Nicole protected what she'd built, and Keith seemed okay with that. But some saw this as quiet proof of imbalance. Nicole's world gave Keith the stability to tour freely, to create music, to expand his brand without the usual sacrifices most artists make for family. He could live on the road and still enjoy the comfort of returning to a home built on her success. And yet, Nicole rarely asked for credit or control. She supported his tour, appeared at his events, smiled for cameras, all while being a mom, actress, and producer. It looked equal on the surface, but deeper down, many felt the partnership helped Keith more. Because while he was conquering stadiums, she was at home raising their daughters. While he added trophies to his shelves, she added balance to their lives. The emotional trap. Just 4 months after their wedding, Keith entered rehab for alcohol addiction. The news at the time showed Nicole as the devoted wife who saved her husband. Fans admired her strength. She didn't run away. She faced the problem and helped him recover. It became part of their public story, how love conquered pain. But as years passed, some people started looking at that moment differently. What if that moment of Keith's weakness became the emotional chain that kept Nicole tied to the marriage far longer than she wanted? Once she'd saved Keith from his problems, walking away became emotionally impossible. Leaving would have felt like betrayal. Every time Keith publicly thanked her for saving his life, it reinforced that role. For 19 years, she carried that image with grace. Through interviews and countless red carpets, Nicole was the woman who healed a man, who stayed when others might have left. But love built on guilt, even unintentionally, slowly wears away. The ghost husband. In public, Keith Urban always seemed like the perfect husband. But behind that image, another version of their marriage quietly existed, one where Keith was rarely home. Keith's touring schedule was crazy. Year after year, he was on the road for more than 200 days at a time. For most of the year, Nicole was at home in Nashville, raising their daughters alone while also working on her own career. Some people started calling him the ghost husband, the man who showed up just long enough for a photo before disappearing back into fame. His absences weren't mean, but they became a habit. When their divorce details became public, the custody arrangement gave Nicole 306 days a year with the kids, leaving Keith with just 59 days. To many, this proved that Nicole had already been doing most of the parenting all along. Being a husband in headlines isn't the same as being a husband at home. And for 19 years, Keith Urban seemed to be both, but only one was real. The career proof. Before marriage, Keith Urban was a respected country artist. After marrying Nicole in 2006, everything changed fast. Within a year, Keith's visibility skyrocketed. He wasn't just a musician anymore, he was part of the entertainment elite. Between 2006 and 2016, Keith's career hit its peak. He won multiple Grammys and became a judge on American Idol. Millions of viewers saw him every week. It was a level of fame country music alone rarely delivered. When the marriage ended, Keith was no longer just a country star, he was an international brand. Fans began listing what he walked away with: a cemented career, a polished image, and a fan base that spanned genres and continents. Then came the contrast. Court filings showed that neither party would receive child support, and Nicole was granted 306 parenting days per year. To critics, that clean exit said everything. He walked away free, no financial ties, no damage to his public image. The rumor that became fact. By the time the supposed Megyn Kelly claim reached full speed, it had already crossed a line. It stopped being a rumor and started being treated as truth. On TikTok, creators posted dramatic edits of Keith and Nicole through the years. On YouTube, channels mapped out his career milestones and her quieter years at home. That's how modern media works. When enough people say something, it begins to sound true even when no proof exists. Screenshots of fake headlines circulated, yet people shared them anyway because they fit the story. And for Keith and Nicole, the damage wasn't measured in legal documents. It was measured in how people saw them. Every photo, every interview, every lyric suddenly carried new meaning. The other side. Not everyone believed Keith Urban used Nicole Kidman. Maybe, some argued, it was mutual benefit, two high-profile artists finding value in what the other offered. They built a family together. They raised 2 daughters away from Los Angeles, choosing Nashville instead, a place that offered privacy and normal life. If fame was Keith's only goal, why hide from it? Keith's music also got better during those years. Albums like Fuse and Ripcord were big successes. His performances carried real emotion. And Nicole evolved too. She turned to character-driven projects and TV roles. Maybe Keith didn't use Nicole. Maybe they both used the illusion of perfection, not out of lies, but out of necessity. Because in a world where image matters, sometimes maintaining the perfect picture is the job. The psychology of public love. Every Hollywood romance lives under a microscope. People wanted to believe in Keith and Nicole because they seemed so real. But that same spotlight, over time, became their greatest burden. When the world watches every smile, every touch, every look, a relationship stops being private, it becomes a performance. For nearly 2 decades, that's what Keith and Nicole lived through. The pressure to appear perfect can slowly change how a couple works. Fans expect chemistry. Tabloids expect cracks. For Keith and Nicole, that balance became second nature. The public saw what they wanted them to see. That's the psychology of public love. Once the world starts believing in your perfection, you have no choice but to play the part. And eventually, pretending becomes exhausting. The final question. In the end, what remains isn't scandal or rumors, it's a question. Was Keith Urban truly using Nicole Kidman, or were two people simply trying to balance love and fame? What we know is this. For 19 years, they built a life together through fame, family, and expectations. They shared something real enough to last longer than most Hollywood marriages. Maybe Keith found stability in Nicole's calm, and she found warmth in his chaos. Maybe they both got what they needed, even if what they wanted eventually changed. So, was it love, strategy, or both? Maybe it was everything beautiful, complicated, and human. And that's what makes their story unforgettable. Table. If you made it this far, you know every story has more than one side. So what do you think? Was it love, ambition, or something in between? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell because there's more coming.